Hello and welcome to my presentation on the holistic way of life for cats, that is for healthy cats. As humans, many of us are very distant from nature. Some people's only contact with nature is with the pet they live with, and for the most part that pet is willing to share their life with us, to help us shoulder the burdens we carry, but we do tend to make it unnecessarily hard for them. With our lack of connection with nature, we have also lost the ability to read our instincts and to follow our wisdom. Instead, most of us have accepted the authority of academics, of corporations, of government dictates. Whilst there's always a place for rules and regulations, especially with a large population, there also needs to be the freedom to question, to choose our own path. Wisdom tends to come from observation and experience. Academics may not have either of these attributes, instead just following rules themselves, often without question. Instincts are subtle feelings which guide us on the most appropriate path for us just at that particular moment. Increasingly, coercion and fear are used to manipulate and to convince people to follow a trend which may not be in their best interests. What I want to do here is to give you food for thought, to show you how you can lessen the burden your cat is carrying for you. This is aimed at empowering you. Once you know the why and the what, the how becomes easier. First, I want to tell you about the homeopathic approach to causes. We take causes very seriously because they will often lead us to the perfect healing remedy. For example, if anyone, has never been well since they suffered a bad fright, then the fright needs to be treated, not the subsequent problems that have developed because of that. The subsequent problems are just ways the body has developed to deal with the situation. Homeopaths also consider what we call maintaining causes. An example may be that you're living in a damp house in a cold winter with little heating. No amount of excellent treatment will help your breathing condition if that's your weakness. The environment can be a maintaining cause, and it very often is. The epigenetic approach to health tells us the same thing, that poor health results from basically two areas, the environment and the genetics. The environment is considered to carry far more importance and so weight than the genetics, with something in the order of an 80-20 split. The environment consists mainly of diet, living conditions and toxicity, which we'll be exploring here. Just before we do though, it's satisfying to know that when you get the 80% environmental factors right, in the majority of cases, the genetic tendencies are put into a dormant state. They will emerge only when the environmental factors go awry. Certainly we'll all die, or at least leave these physical bodies, but it doesn't have to be from a disease. It should come about from having lived a good life, and now there is a desire to move on. I have witnessed many times beings of any species having a good healthy life and then going quickly and peacefully at the end. I doubt if anyone could ask for more. So let's take a look at the different aspects of the environment or the maintaining causes which affects your cat's health. I'd like to start with the diet, as this is extremely important. It's impossible to be healthy when you're eating a diet inappropriate to your species, or if the diet lacks nutrition, or if the diet is toxic. This is one of the major maintaining causes of poor health in anyone. Sadly, most commercial cat food is guilty on all 3 points. So let's look at them one at a time. Cats are carnivores. In fact, they're obligate carnivores, which means they must eat meat to stay alive. No vegetarian or vegan cats exist. This is not an opinion, this is a fact. All cats have evolved on a diet of prey appropriate to their size and ability. Yet when you look at a packet of kibble, whoever you buy it from, whatever the price, you more often than not see the first ingredients, which are listed in the order of the amount, with the highest amount as the first ingredient, as plant-based isolates. They isolate the protein from corn, soy, or other legumes. This isolation process has problems of its own. Somewhere in the list you might see some animal protein, but bearing in mind meat is expensive, so most of it goes to the more lucrative human market. This means the leftovers are mostly used in pet food. So the quality of the protein is very poor, perhaps chicken feet. Feathers are now being heralded as a new form of protein. What? Not only that, but hygiene at the pet food processing plants, or where they purchase their ingredients from, is far from the high standards imposed on those facilities which process human food. The brands are fully aware that the end result is non-nutritious, which is why they add in supplements, and they're invariably synthetic supplements. But nutrition comes from food, not a laboratory. Utilising them can be imperfect and they can easily be toxic. Of course, any food which contains any form of animal protein that can be kept at room temperature indefinitely, such as dry cat food, must contain preservatives. And the ones typically used in pet food are so toxic they would never be allowed in human food. Canned food can be slightly better in that preservatives may not be used in the same amount, but the excessive use of plant-based protein and low-quality animal protein is still present. All commercial cat food is cooked, normally at extremely high temperature pressures. Cooking destroys enzymes so essential to life and alters the protein. So typical commercial cat food contains inappropriate food for the species, is naturally non-nutritious and contains toxins. It ticks all the boxes for one of the aspects of the epigenetic model, the environment, which causes 80% of ill health. For these reasons, I consider this to be the most important part of healthcare, whether holistic or otherwise. Changing this is essential to gain long-lasting health. This is your job. No one else can do that. You can have someone hold your hand and help and guide you through the process, but it comes down to you and how determined you are. If you don't fully believe in this, then you probably won't get very far. Your cat will pick up on your energy. If you're determined to make the changes necessary, then your cat will feel your intent and will more readily comply. Changing anyone's diet, especially radically changing it, is not without its problems. But the first one is you. And your cat may have ideas of their own. Your cat may be a junkie. People often look for natural solutions in treating their cat. Leave this to those in the know. Change the diet instead. The right diet for cats must be based on their evolutionary diet, because this is what they have thrived on forever. Again, that is not an opinion. So what is it? It's raw, it's fresh, it's balanced. I know that many people who promote raw cat food make it complicated, but it doesn't have to be. The more complicated it is, the less likely people will try it. Certainly it's more of an effort than opening a packet or a can, but not much more, not after you've got the hang of it. And the benefits in seeing your cat respond so quickly, which is common, is reward enough. Older cats regain their vigour, their playfulness, their energy. Diseases frequently either improve dramatically or disappear altogether. Healthcare expenses drop drastically. Anguish disappears. Even the serious and common chronic diseases such as renal issues and stomatitis are likely to dramatically improve, although advanced cases will need extra help. Implementing a raw diet can be welcomed with open arms by your cat, especially a young cat. They discover they really are cats. Other cats, especially the older ones, may have become junkies and need a period of adjustment as new food gradually replaces the old. It's also a large learning curve for you. You have to learn what you can feed them. You have to make changes to your shopping habits, and you have to make room in your life to prepare the food. Do Doing anything worthwhile takes time and effort to learn. You can't learn to drive, to climb a mountain, to be a lawyer in 5 minutes. It's not just about learning how to do something new, it's also about changing mindsets, and that can take time and effort. So the next aspect of the epigenetic model I want to talk about is toxicity. It's hard to live in our current world without being exposed to toxins on a daily basis. However, I believe some are more invasive than others, and these probably have a greater impact on the health of our cats. We've already touched on the diet as a source of toxins, and this is one of the biggest contributors, as food is ingested daily. Other daily contributors are the toxins in your house or garden, flame retardant furnishings, toxic floor cleaners, air fresheners, they're a bad one, garden chemicals, Wi-Fi, EMF, all have a deleterious effect on our cats more than it does on us, because cats are more sensitive than we are, and they're also closer to the ground, so they inhale the toxins more readily. So whatever you can do to reduce their exposure to these will have a beneficial effect on them and on you. Things such as natural floor cleaners and cleaning products. It's amazing what white vinegar and bicarb of soda or baking soda will do. Going organic in the garden, switching off the Wi-Fi at night and when out, and so on. Another source of toxins, which is considerable, is their healthcare. Veterinary drugs in any form are suppressive by nature. This suppression lowers a healthy immune system, making it more difficult for the animal to fight off pathogens and to retain health. Veterinary medicine can be invaluable at times, but their forte tends to lie more in dealing with acute problems. The medical profession as a whole doesn't understand chronic disease and in many cases is the cause. I truly believe that doctors should be advocates for their patients. In communist Russia, they took the role very seriously and looked at anything and everything that might help the individual before them. Nowadays, doctors are only trained to make a diagnosis and select a drug. They have become advocates for big corporations, the pharmaceutical companies and the big pet food companies. There's no independent thinking anymore, but there are better ways. And homeopathy offers you one of the better ways. It's deeply effective, but it is not an easy healthcare to study or to practice. Currently, you won't find homeopaths or homeopathic vets on every street corner. One of the great advantages of homeopathy is that it can treat patients at a distance. It can achieve this because it relies on symptoms more than tests and palpation, although these can be useful. Homeopathy is also very flexible. You can learn to use some of the common remedies yourself, thus saving you thousands of dollars and much anxiety. I recommend this to everyone who is interested. The remedies are the same for all living beings. There is not anything different about treating cats from treating people, other than understanding who cats are and what they're trying to tell us. This then enables you to treat acute problems at home, saving time, money, anxiety, and eliminating the need for any toxic drugs. To learn how to use the common remedies in acute situations, I highly recommend you take a course. Certainly you can glean information by searching the internet, but homeopathy is vastly different from medicine, and medicine has infiltrated most people's consciousness. It takes time to change your way of thinking. You can't use homeopathy the way you use allopathy. I'll give you an example. If your cat sustains an injury, a mainstream vet will always prescribe antibiotics, whether or not an infection has occurred, just to be on the safe side. But we know that antibiotics destroy the essential gut bacteria, dropping the immune system down a notch or two. In contrast, a homeopath or homeopathic vet will prescribe the most suitable remedy depending on the symptoms your cat is exhibiting. When the prescription is a good one, not only will infection not occur, an existing infection will clear up, the wound or injury will heal quickly, the pain will disappear, and there is likely to be no residual effect. If you, as a knowledgeable home prescriber, treated the condition, you would also select the remedy based on the symptoms of your cat, but from a smaller selection. So your choice is still likely to have the same effect, but healing may take a little longer. The sorts of acute problems that you can treat at home yourself include things such as injuries, bites, stings, abscesses, colds, flus, allergic reactions, food poisoning, burns, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, colic, bleeding, sprains, strains, and more. Not in their advanced stage, which would require more professional help, but certainly in the acute stage or early on in the condition, which can have the effect of halting and reversing the process entirely. Serious and chronic diseases such as renal issues, stomatitis, autoimmune conditions or diabetes, to mention just a few, can all fare much better under good homeopathic treatment. It does take time, it does take effort, it does take dedication. However, when the human is willing, it's amazing what can be achieved. I'm seeing excellent results with these conditions. Homeopathy gently stimulates a poorly functioning immune system, which is why so many things come right altogether. When looking for a homeopath to work with, make sure they only practice homeopathy, as this is a deep subject which requires total dedication and ongoing study. Those practitioners who dabble in homeopathy and other holistic modalities may only have the same information you can glean from a good acute home prescribing course. And I think this example from the British Cam for Animals website says it all. At 9 years old, Arthur suffered from chronic bladder disease and a suspected tumour. Euthanasia was recommended. Following treatment by the homeopathic vet, all symptoms disappeared. Now, approaching 17 years of age, he is well and has required no further treatment. Additional aspects to help keep your cat healthy includes living conditions and your health. Most cats are indoor cats now for various reasons, but getting out into direct sunlight, walking on the bare earth, rolling in the grass, all have powerful healing qualities. If you live in a house, you may be able to make an outside enclosure which is safe for them and provide these benefits. Having a pot of grass allows them to self-medicate as necessary, and they love rolling around and rubbing the plant Nepeta or catnip. If your house is noisy, make sure they have a safe and quiet bolt hole they can retreat to as necessary. Lifestyle is important. Be respectful. Another important area to consider is your own health and that of other family members. All close animal companions help us by carrying some of our burdens, so one of the best ways to help them is to help yourself. Make sure you and yours are getting good, holistic, especially homeopathic, treatment for any physical or emotional issues you have. I always think that the mother of the family is the most important member, as when she's healthy, everyone else seems to be so much happier. But when she's not well, it seems that no one is well. And she frequently leaves her own health to the last. There may be a lot for you to take in here, depending on where you are in your life's journey. Just take things slowly. Go at your own pace, one step at a time. Climbing a mountain or achieving any task takes time. Most of the work is mental. Getting your head around a new idea is more than half the work. The rest comes easily after that. Do check out the link here for more information.